You'll find the Sweeping Wizard in the Jeweler's Bench in the Ring Creation section. Sweeping Wizard. If you launch the Sweeping Wizard without selecting a curve, it has an automatic ring creation mode where it will build the ring circle for you. You can choose a finger size, choose which plane it's based on. The default is the OXZ, so it's in the up and down. And you can add an opening angle in this mode, so if you want to do a partial sweep. You can also use custom rings, so you can either pre-select a path or curve, or you choose custom ring and add your path or curve here with the hand. You can use open curves, closed curves, or even a ring size builder. So if you want the extra plane on top, start with the ring size builder and select that for your sweeping. It is limited to 1 path sweeps. If you want to do 2, 3, or 4 path sweeps, you'll use the normal curve sweeping tool. So now that I have my rail selected, we'll go to the second tab, sections. This one's a little different than curve sweeping. The sections go into a list. When I click on the plus, it'll add a section. We haven't actually added the cross section or profile yet, just the positioning. You can position it freely anywhere on the curve. It's not based on the points. It will snap to the center point, or you can use the position parameter as well. So if you want it at the halfway point or the quarter point or any other point specifically, you can type that in. Okay, there's a nice reset button if you want to reset everything back to where it was. I'll type in 0 for the top point for this one. Okay, we need to actually add our section. You can use the hand and choose a pre-drawn section, or you can go to the library. This will automatically open up the library and take you to the 2D symbols. There's some samples here, as well as if you expand it out, you'll find shanks with a bunch of pre-made profiles as well. So you choose the profile that you like. And you'll notice with the library profiles, they were drawn at a specific size, and even if you draw your own sections, they may not be the exact size you want. So instead of going back and scaling those sketches, you can do a lot of modification directly in the tool. So that's one huge advantage of using the Sweeping Wizard over a normal one-rail curve sweeping. So let's go through the tabs. The first tab, of course, is the section that we were just working on. The second tab is the first alignment type. That's using the default alignments that's very similar to the curve sweeping. So you can do middle, left, right, etc. on the curve. You'll notice with the Sweeping Wizard, it automatically assumes that you want your profile on top of the ring circle. So it's already set up for our band. The third one is to freely align it using a move gizmo. So you can move it off the curve in any direction along the horizontal or vertical. You can type those numbers in, the X and the Y, or reset them back to 0. We'll leave this one centered for now. You can also rotate on the next tab. So you can give it a specific angle or use the gizmo to spin it around. So the cool thing is it doesn't have to stay flat to the curve. You can rotate your sections. And then the one I use mostly is the scale. Like I said, this profile may not be the exact size of one. It's 10 wide by 5 height. So if you want to type in the specific amounts, or you can use the handles again. So if you turn off keep ratio, you can type in the width and the height individually. So I'm going to make my band, let's say 5 by 3. And then you have a final tab, which is for mirroring. We'll come back and look at that once I add some more profiles. So to add another profile, I just hit the plus icon here. It's going to copy section 1, whatever settings I just set up for number 1, into section 2. So I can freely position that wherever I want, make any changes to it. So I'm going to make this one 2.5 wide by 1.5 height. So we get a bit of a taper from the top profile to the side profile. Now in regular sweeping, if I wanted this profile on the other side, I'd have to add another section and move it to the opposite position. Here's where with the Sweeping Wizard, mirroring is very convenient. We'll go to the Mirror tab, and we'll turn on the type and mirror. So this is only going to mirror the one that I have selected, number 2. And we can do vertical plane, so across the vertical horizontal, so across the horizontal plane, or both vertical and horizontal, so it'll set up the 4 corners. You can also do axis mirroring. For that, it's going to look the same. This is the vertical axis. If I go to the Move tool, though, and I move one section, the opposite will happen to the other section. So it's mirroring across the axis instead of planar. So let me reset that. Oops, I also reset my size. Let me put that back here. Keep that in mind. Be careful with that. I think I wanted 2.5 by 1.5, something like that. And then I'll turn on just the vertical plane. So I just want it to sweep from the big section to the small section, then keep the same, and then back to the big section here. So symmetry is very helpful. You also have an auto orientation tab. This is going to be your hinting of sections and rebuilding of curves. So if you're using different profiles that don't match, as far as the number of points, curve direction, things like that, you can leave on hinting of sections and rebuilding the curves so that those profiles will sweep cleanly. So before we validate, we have the material type, just like most of our other construction tools. So you can choose your material. Caps End is on by default, so we got closed surfaces. And the no cutting face option is here as well, just like the curve sweeping tool. Go ahead and validate, and we have our curve sweeping. Okay, so it's pretty automated, gives you a lot of extra options. One more cool trick you can do using that alignment tab. Let's say this one here, I want to move it off to the side a bit. So this will allow me to bend my bands around without having to go in and change the positioning of the points on the original path. So you keep your path planar but still do these nice curved bands. So that's it for the Sweeping Wizard. We'll see you in the next video.